Scott smells.
Huh? What? No. I...
Good timing.
No, I smell wonderful. Axe. That's the brand of deodorant I use. What do you use? Old Spice? Huh?
Max, isn't
Huh?
that just like foreign links? Let me Google this.
I think it is actually, yeah.
Yeah.
What's foreign links?
No, Lynx is.
Yeah, it is.
Don't worry.
Reference. All right. So, anyways,
It's not a reference, it's just a fact.
It's exactly, yeah.
I don't even know what you're referring to,
I love
unfortunately.
that you're the one cut out of this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You knew what you were getting into, bringing us three on.
Well, yeah. On the American, we
Well,
make
they're
all
big.
the jokes, but you know, you guys exist too.
They're being like marketed as aluminium free.
Aluminium free, cool. I don't like aluminium in my armpits. All right, let's keep going. So, you guys give him the potions. He goes cluck cluck, and then what do you do, Jake?
Stand there for a minute. Nah,
Can you guys make a perception check?
I will head.
Yeah, he appears and we're like,
to,
you didn't open the door.
The door's already open.
We did open the door.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go, I don't know, down, I guess, but I'm gonna be like checking for traps all the way.
Sure. So roll me a perception check as you're making your way down the stairs. Okay.
Just a train, don't worry.
So you're making your way down the stairs, looking about for traps. You don't actually find any traps as you go down there. Sorry, just double clicking.
Him clicking things is scary.
There we
Stop
go.
that.
Sorry, making sure things are correct because you don't want to play the wrong music. Because if you do, you can have your VOD not be allowed to play sound and get banned. So yeah, the
My girl fell out of bed. Hang on.
what was it?
Said, be right back.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't realize what he just said. All right. Well, in the interim, so while you guys are up there and he's making his way down the stairs, the two of you, having formulated your plan, you know, kind of like, okay, so based off of what's going down there, I believe you handed the scroll. You kind of had a debate amongst the two of you over who it is that's going to be doing what in the moving forward. I believe you gave the scroll over to Tesh. Cool. So Tesh is going to be holding on to that. And did you guys actually, on the ground floor, which is the first floor, did you guys
No, ground floor is the
do a
ground
little
floor.
bit of a bonfire right there?
Round 4, we put a. I think we put a bonfire there. Yeah,
Okay.
for quick lighting.
Now, you didn't go up to the second floor for any reason whatsoever, which is ground floor plus one.
We didn't go to the first floor.
Okay. So, well, you're on the first floor, but you didn't go up to the second floor. Probably to get some of that tattered, whatchamacallit that you were on. So, did that actually confuse you, Neil, or no?
No.
Because you just,
No.
whatever you think -1, because Australia does it the same way as us, yeah?
I just forgot that was a thing, so that's the only reason why it confused me initially.
Jake didn't say whether or not he got it. So, I bet he gets it, but...
I don't actually. It's interesting because I'm not sure it's universal here. If you know what I mean. Like, I think it depends on the type of building.
I mean, like, where I work, ground floor is level 2, to confuse everyone. Basement level is level 1.
Well, so, like, there are buildings, like, say, here, where, like, there will be ground floor, which is the one you're walking off the street of. It says floor 1 or G. They usually do if it's, like, say, a museum or whatever, because you have international people, so they just keep it easy. They just put a star next to it and put a G.
Yeah.
But it goes G, 2, 3, 4, you know what I mean? But if there's anything sub-levels, it'll either be SUB1 or B1. You know what I mean? For basement or
That's,
sub.
that's why
So,
why you have the first floor,
1,
because
2.
you have, for example, in your lift, you have G, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. You don't miss the 1.
G, 2, 3, because G is interchangeable with 1.
Actually, I need to pay attention to.
So Jake, just to finish this conversation we've been on for way too long. For you, is it first floor or ground floor when you walk in off the street?
It's ground floor.
And when you go up one flight of stairs, what floor is that?
First floor.
That makes no sense.
Exactly.
That makes no sense.
I'll rest my case.
It's the second floor. Oh, not that whatever.
I definitely think of it that way. I need to pay attention. There's not many buildings I go into that have more than 2 floors.
Yeah. So you just think upstairs or downstairs, right? So we'll just use upstairs or downstairs. And right now you're in the basement. Okay, cool.
I need to pay attention when I go to the movies next time because they have a multi-floor thing.
Well, if Jake's saying that, you know, because you're very much ingrained into American culture from like all your streaming and everything, I imagine if Jake's saying that, it's probably the AU norm.
It's probably that.
Yeah.
As I said, most of the places I go have 2 floors max.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's why you guys still have a king. So, you guys are...
I just avoid the city deliberately because I hate it.
I'm just teasing. So, Jake, you're going downstairs. You make a perception check. As you're going down the stairs, you don't see any traps or anything like that. It doesn't seem like this is even an area we typically find traps designed into. So nothing springs or jumps out at you. Nothing. You don't notice anything along the way. What you do notice at the bottom of the stairs, when you first do get down the stairs, is that there is a partition wall with like a door that would separate this room from the one adjacent to it, right? Like whatever's beyond. Because the area down here is almost like your immediate typical like wine cellar, or my apologies, cellar, where you would put like your potatoes and your wines and your cheeses and stuff like that. Those having long since rotted, but you can see the areas where they would be stored, including the old casks of wine that has probably long since turned to vinegar or broken open and spilled out or so on, right? So, anyways, you guys go downstairs and you see that, and it's like, okay, you would think that this is probably safe until you open the door going to the next thing, except in areas you can see where the part of the wall and even part of the ceiling has been bursted through, and there's a massive root coming through from whatever is in the other room next door. So a root growing through the wall in one portion, suspending somewhat inside the actual like air, over going into the exterior wall to the grounds beyond. You have a root that must have grown up above and then dropping down below. Other roots that are coming up from the ground beneath. Whatever plants there is on the other side, it has grown unimpeded for so long that its massive roots are coming into here. But the majority of the plant is on the other side of a door.
Sift on the door.
Okay, roll me a perception check, sir. So it's a really good perception check. So when you're looking at the door, you can actually see that the door itself does not have any traps or anything like that on it. It is, however, locked. It has like a simple lock on there. Honestly, you think that, smash it open with your axe could take care of it, or if one of you guys had any skill in lockpicking. It's not a particularly complicated lock. However, your sift does let you know, because it covers a 10-foot area. It does show you that there are more roots. There's a lot of stuff growing on the other side of the door. And actually, those roots are growing in the way of the door. So the door is designed to be a turn and push in, but those roots are growing in such a way that you can't do that.
So you can't open the door.
It seems like it's jammed shut.
Yeah. Okay, well, seeing that, and I can see a root, did you say, coming in to where I am?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's nothing else of note that I can sort of see in this little corridor or stairs or wherever we are.
Not unless you want to check one of the wine kegs.
I mean, why not?
All right. Roll me an appraise check.
Praise.
I don't know enough about alcohol. Is wine flammable? Like
Not enough.
some other alcohol?
Unless it's fortified.
Yeah, so wine is sitting at usually 12 to 14% ABV. Flammable kicks up at, I want to say, 25% ABV. No, just shy of that. 20% ABV, I think, is when it becomes flammable. 22, somewhere in there.
I don't know. I would have thought it'd been like 40, because that's what you use spirits.
Yeah. Well, 40 proof. So
Oh,
80,
okay,
80
You have like weird. Proof
well, 80 proof is 40%. So I was using the ABV, which is percentage by volume.
Yeah, I'm using percentage.
Okay, so
We don't use proof round.
but I'm pretty sure 20, 22, 25, somewhere in there is where alcohol becomes flammable. I'm pretty sure. Because you can set things like McGillicuddy's on fire, and that's a much lower alcohol content. So I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I had to know my mixology. Anyways, so it seems like it's all turned to vinegar. So for whatever that value that is.
Alright, well, I guess I'll head back up.
Okay. Go back up the stairs.
Yep, go back up the stairs, and how long has it been?
Honestly, 2 minutes.
How long does the invisibility last?
3 minutes is it? Invisibility? 3 minutes?
Okay.
30 minutes. Pathfinder, Invis.
1 minute per level, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I think it's minimum level 3. So, yeah, 3 minutes. So you went down there, you looked around, so on and so forth.
Alright, so I'll just come back up and probably stand right next to Valor and kind of get real close to his ear. I'm just like, the door's blocked.
Okay. That's a problem.
The door itself is locked. However, we have that weird charm thing to probably unlock that. However, the roots are growing against the door. And one thing to note is there is a root protruding into the corridor down there. We could light a bonfire underneath it, but I mean, it's not going to damage that root.
That's not a bad idea, though.
I don't know if it'll set off anything and send something after us or not, but
it might. I mean, if we've got a wall between us and whatever it's angry that it sends, it might actually be a good idea to test.
Did the door was it like a reinforced door as well down there?
Yeah, but again, like it's one of those. It's a wooden door, aged though even less aged because it's in the basement. Reinforced like iron studs and bands, but like again, nothing like that first door you came across forever ago.
Alright, so then I say we could also set a fire and burn the door down and the roots behind it maybe.
That's also not a bad idea. If it's gotten big enough that there is a root protruding through a wall, I wonder if it's protruding anywhere on the first floor, on the ground floor.
You guys have looked around the entire ground floor several times, just trying to keep that phrasing. On the ground floor several times, and honestly, you didn't see any roots or anything like that. Great, you weren't looking for it, but you don't think so.
Yeah, okay, then ignore that then. In that case, it may be quite cramped down there, and it may be quite hard to set on fire. And also, when we do, we have to keep in mind that it'll become quite hard to breathe, which means the fire might actually have issue staying lit. There are a lot of issues with keeping it on fire. I think, as you said, magic fire may be the best way to go about this.
Yes, but I'm not willing to suggest that we use it in an enclosed space such as that. We would have to hack through the door and the roots before we unleashed it.
Oh, I agree with that. I was not suggesting we use it at all on this side of the wall. I more mean once we get to that other side, it may become interesting, to say the least.
Maybe if you could use your acid on the hinges of the door, I could try and pull it the other way.
That might work.
That's not a bad idea.
Which, while we're...
I'm worried that the tree, I wonder that root, I wonder if it can move. I don't know what type of tree it is.
I think our best bet is to light the current root we can see on fire and see how it reacts. Then we can move forward based on that.
Sure.
Now...
Or even just burn it, maybe not light it on fire, because that may make it hard to breathe.
Bearing in mind that weakening it would suffice for now, does anyone have a large length of copper?
Huh.
If we were able to implant that in the tree, better yet, we could feed it something bad. Alongside that, we would be able to severely detriment the tree's health.
I do not.
Me neither.
Don't forget you have copper coins.
I mean,
But granted that they're not like spikes or something easily to what you're thinking about. You'd have to almost like melt and reforge, which you could theoretically burn a pretty hot fire, you know, if you have the right ability to do so.
Oh, I don't know anything about metal, so I shouldn't say that. In stereotypical copper of people who don't know about copper.
Copper will not be a hard thing to melt.
Okay, good.
Because it was the initial thing that humans worked with to make bronze. Copper and tin. So it will not require the same heat as like iron.
If we want to do that, we can. Up to you, I think. I'm not sure what will work.
If we were able to generate a copper spike, we could implant that in the tree. It would have to be rather large. How many coins do we have between us? I've got about 23.
I mean, this goes into if I can convert coins, I have a lot of gold.
No magic conversion.
And I actually don't have any copper coins left. I have 3 silver.
Oh, you're muted.
I also have no copper. Actually, just gold.
So I think that's not going to work.
Could we not stab a dagger into the thing and then you touch it with your short sword?
I don't think that will do much to it.
Electricity, unfortunately, doesn't really do a lot of damage to plants. Yeah.
What do you mean? This tree clearly generates it. We've already been over this.
Dead stare from Valorant, just dead.
Why don't we go down there and see what we can do, breaking through the root, breaking through the door, and then we will reassess from there.
I think that is a good idea. I think that is our best bet.
What's this tree being watered with?
It's magic. I don't. It doesn't need. It needs the opposite of sunlight now, apparently. So it might be.
Maybe we should just hold a torch to the root.
You say that. What's it being like? Fed or watered with? Gave me a bad thought. Maybe that's what the little ones are for. They grab things and bring them back. Make compost.
Suppose we'll find out.
Yes. Let us proceed down then.
Brave the long dark of Moria.
Into the darkest dungeon. So you guys make your way down, and as you go down the stairs and kind of taking in the sights of the room with the torch held up and whatnot, you're looking into the room, and do me a are you guys like so? What is the immediate plan here?
Assume we have our torches on at this stage. We're not really going down stealthily, are we? Yeah.
No. We're just approaching the door for now.
Okay, you approach the door.
I would like. I mean, I have an idea how this is gonna go, but I would like to do bloop, just in case.
Okay.
Just looking around. Once it's activated, looking around the room.
You detect the presence of magic that's inside the room. You can see
Just
that.
everywhere.
Yep, you can see that there's heavy transmutation magic all about. Growing. It's literally the roots that's protruding through. The roots that are protruding through this room are dense with transmutation magic. You can literally feel it, permeating through your body. You can, see it's coming off of it in like tendrils or waves, almost like they have their own roots coming off of the roots. You can feel it permeating from through the wall on the other side. There's a heavy amount of transmutation magics
I would relay that and remind the team that is what the vines had when the vines just changed shape and became fucking grinders. So, be careful what you touch.
Well, what's in these barrels? One didn't say anything, but
Oh,
and
yeah.
how
It's
many?
wine. It's turned to vinegar.
Ah, interesting. And how many barrels are there?
You go over and look. You're welcome to check them out yourself. Do you want to investigate them yourself, Neil?
Yeah.
There were a bunch of barrels
On
at some
my
point.
count.
At some point in time, there were a bunch of barrels. At some point in time, they were kind of like broken open, or actually, you can do me an appraise check because you can count without even perceiving. So you can you see at some point in time a couple of barrels have broken open or leaked out or whatever. So for the most part, they've all been destroyed. And again, it's just a bunch of wine that seems to have turned to vinegar.
Yeah, but how many barrels?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Still viable. So when I say barrels, understand these aren't like small. These are very big barrels.
Yeah. How many?
There's still 3 that have wine inside them.
Vinegar.
Vinegar.
Well, if we were able to cut a way into the tree, into its core, pouring 3 barrels of vinegar in should detriment its health if it is actually a tree.
Judging by the amount of transmutation magic, I have a feeling it's a little more than just a tree.
Well, yes, it's little more than
it's hard for me to find words to describe just how much magic is coming from this tree. It's permeating everything.
Yes, well, your invisible friend has informed us that it's the reason that we are experiencing this lovely verdant growth everywhere. Nonetheless, it is a tree. I'm not saying it will work, however, simply blinding oneself to the possibility that magic will cure all is not necessarily correct. It may well simply convert the vinegar into water, or the tree itself sustains the magic.
It's worth a try.
So, how do you intend to get the wine inside the tree?
I mean, first we have to get through that damn door, which we had an idea.
Shoot, let me know.
Of the acid on the hinges and attempting to pull it instead of push it.
So here would be the plan. We remove the door frame, remove the doors from the frame. One and I hack through the roots. One, with your axe, I need you to cut a slanted angle into the tree trunk. If the room is not occupied, we need to have it angled in towards the center. It's not the easiest thing to do. I'm not capable of it. I'm not a lumberjack. And then we would want to roll some of these barrels over that way and attempt to pour them in. Or, if needs be, if we don't have the strength for that, transfer the liquid from the barrels to a smaller container and pour them in that way. However, it is difficult to tell whether or not this would affect the tree, and if it does, the effect will not necessarily be instantaneous.
So, if we do get a look at the trunk, do you still want to fireball it?
Let us try this first. If we are in immediate danger, we may have to consider the fireball.
I would agree. And while the trees normally would not show a reaction to us poisoning them in this manner, our friend here tells us that this thing is positively pulsing with magic. A disruption in the flow of magic may be indicative of whether or not this poison has taken effect.
That's a good point. I will attempt to maintain my detect magic then.
Well, we don't know what we'll find in there, so you may not be able to.
This is true.
So to pop it open, you guys can start trying to finagle with it. Honestly, the chime of opening is specifically designed to find a way to open it that is feasible and mundane. You know what I mean? So you could just ring the chime, and that should be able to pop off the hinges for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
But does it have a number of charges? Or?
Chime of opening.
Is it just use magic device, or does it have charge?
No, it works full on, but it does technically have a limited number of uses. It's not
Correct.
a tiny number, but it does technically have a limited number of uses.
Then we ought to just melt through the hinges.
Try this first, yeah.
Okay. So then that's going to take a considerable amount of time sitting there. Acid splash, acid splash, acid splash, acid splash. Because
you don't want to get it to nighttime, so.
Yeah, so
Well, we would have got here
early.
pretty early morning.
Exactly. So you have time. You have hours to spare. It's just you're not going through this quickly. You're going through this at a slow and arduous pace. But you definitely can do it that way. So there you are, splashing at the door for a while, trying to get the hinges to break off. I'm not going to have you roll for it because you're going to succeed just by taking the time. It's just going to be a considerable amount of time. Let's say about 2 hours to finally like melt through entirely, get the hinges removed. And then that way you can kind of like grab the door and tilt it inwards, lift it at an angle, and pull it out. Again, all these things don't require a check as long as you're willing to spend the time. And so when you do open the door and you're finally able to see inside, the only one that can truly see very far, excuse me, is the parent in the party. He's able to see the farthest because of his elven eyes, his half-elven eyes, right? So the other two of you, with the torch, what you see when you first light it up, human, is that the room was a massive room. Very, very large. And you imagine the tree was always growing inside of the room, right? But its growth must have just gone unchecked for too long. Now it takes up, you can't even see the actual base of the tree itself, but you see massive roots just everywhere inside this room, all about, all over. Just these huge, massive roots. On the roots, you see these almost like tiny little nodules growing off of many of the roots that are there, right? For one who can see a little bit further with your dark vision, you can actually see that the once again the tiny little nodules, the roots get larger and larger and larger. It gets to the base of the tree, leading you to believe that this tree must be like, I don't know, a few hundred feet tall with the roots this size. Like you would imagine that they, I don't know, easily 300, 400, 500 feet tall, right? But there's a roof here, so it's definitely not growing up, right? Because you're inside of a keep, and the keep isn't even that tall.
Oh, no.
And what the parent can see, because he has further vision with his low light, he can actually just barely see the actual like circumference of the base of the tree. At the furthest extent of your vision, you can barely make out where the roots join with something. You can't really make it out though.
Okay, so that's not quite what I was thinking. Okay, that's... well...
The roots join with something.
Well, the trunk. It's so far away he can't really make out the details.
Oh dear.
So it would be a long way to take this poison then.
Especially if these are dangerous as they may be, these roots. Shall we test its reaction?
Probably a good idea.
Suppose so.
Does anyone have anything in their packs that they can throw that they do not mind losing? You know what? I will throw a candle. Not a lit candle, just a candle.
Sure. Just grab a hunk of wax. Yeah, get ready for your pitch, and you're hurling it into the thing. And you're soaring. Who's throwing it? You?
Someone else want to throw?
I give it to one so he can hurl it with his beefy arm.
Yeah.
So you hurl it all the way to the tree trunk. Is that what your goal is? One?
Yeah, sure.
You don't need to make a strength check to throw something 100 feet. That's pretty easy to do for a grown adult. So you wind up.
I can't figure out what 100 feet is.
30 meters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
So you wind up and you hurl the thing as hard as you can to have it go flying in, and it eventually hits the trunk on the other side, and then rolls down and hits the floor and rolls on the floor. Perception checks.
Yeah, I'm not going to make one because I can't see that.
Roll me a perception check, anyways.
Hey, my elven eyes.
The two of you are looking inside. Two of you are looking inside of the doorway and looking to see if there's any reaction inside there. You're just checking. Does the tree move? Do the roots move? Anything like that? And none of you see anything. It's actually Val who kind of like stepped to the side. As you threw the thing in, just kind of like, okay, I got the scroll ready in case I need it. And then something catches the corner of his eye outside of the room you're looking into. And you kind of like look up and you see that the root that had grown through the wall is kind of like hanging there is somewhat into the exterior wall, kind of like lumping through. That root seemed to shift slightly. You don't know if you saw it shift, but you definitely see dust settling down onto the ground underneath the where it's protruding the wall.
Guys, the root in this room moved.
Move back.
Yep, moving back.
So we kill it then. If it's not a tree, maybe we shoot it with that one moment.
I think you're right. And oh my god, this
Oh yeah. Is that an open window? If it's a closed window, it doesn't matter. But is that an open window?
Maybe we throw the suicidal kitten at it.
Yeah, it is an open window. Okay, yeah. I mean, what floor do you live on?
I'm on the first floor here.
Oh, okay. So it wouldn't hurt.
It's a house, so I actually just call this the upstairs.
Okay, so the upstairs. That's right. Nudge.
Okay, I would be agreeing with you, Riven. I think attacking this thing may be the best bet right now.
I'm gonna burn the root.
Okay, I'm gonna prepare a ray of frost to see if it moves. I'm hitting it to see if it does anything. If it moves.
You go over to that actual root one with your flame, and you start raising up your flame to lick the root with it, and you're gonna go into the other to the doorway, and you're gonna pull out your scroll and prepare to cast fireball with that one.
What? No. I'm staying back while he approaches this root, and then if the root moves, I'm hitting it with a ray of frost to see if that does anything.
Ah, gotcha. And Neil?
Basically, if it moves away from him, I don't want to be doing it into combat.
Rarin is standing slightly back, watching this with arms crossed. He's somewhat disapproving of this, but he's not willing to say that it's a bad idea because it's not a bad idea. But he kind of just wants the hellfire burn the tree.
You take the torch and you head over to the root and you just start like raising it up. And so you're getting closer. You're feeling that nervousness in your belly, that like tension in your chest. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't know how this is gonna go. This is a big tree. And as you're raising the thing up there, maybe the prayer to Vrogar for guidance, strength, whatever it is. Just as the flames of the torch, just as they start to touch the root of the tree, all of a sudden, right where that flame touches the root of the tree, the flame turns blue. No. Purple. Now the flames further down, blue. No. Turning purple. And it goes all the way down to the base, the very base, like where the flame is the hottest point at the base of the torch you're holding. It's blue, rolls upwards for the most of the flame is actually this like deep purple color, and the very tips of the flame are actually now like a licking black color.
I would drop it.
As you see this happening, the light of the fire dims out completely, so that as you drop the thing, the two of you, the Perrin and the human, the light of that fire completely snuffs out, with the exception of you seeing its own soft glow, but not even so much that it illuminates anything around it. A purple, a blue, a purpleness and a blueness, kind of like coming up off of the floor. However, for you, one, with your dark vision, the whole room that you're in illuminates, incredibly so. it almost acts like a black light within your vision. Everything, instead of being black and white, is cast with shades of purples and blues. Dark in color, not like bright fluorescent ones, but with purples and blues. And your dark vision is actually extended to double, maybe even greater, double the range that you can typically see with it. The whole area lights up very, very well.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, well, I would just say I can see better, and I would describe, how it is that I can see in the colors and shades and things like that.
Do you want to take a look in the other room, see if you can see the core? We couldn't quite see that far. Be careful though, that is very peculiar.
I am imagining it is the effect of transmutation magic upon the fire.
Yes, which makes me worried about if we try to use a fireball on it. Although that will be magic fire, so that may be different.
Gesundheit.
Sorry, it's the ash from the torch.
Fair.
Do I hear anything?
No, nothing other than at first there are bits of surprise and confusion in the conversation.
Okay, well, I'll tell Rayron. I'll say keep an eye on this route here, while I go see if I can see further into the room.
Very well.
Don't think we can see anything. So
You just have torches.
You guys have your own torch. You just saw his
right.
torch snuffed out. Yeah.
So I'll kind of approach where we were before, kind of.
Do you bring the torch with you so it's illuminating that light for you?
Well, no, I can see in the dark, but I want them to kind of keep an eye.
That light extended your dark vision. That's the reason why we were asking you to have a look in this room. It's like a black light torch. It's weird.
Okay, well, I'll look around the room. Is that what you want me to do?
No, he wanted you to take the torch and bring it with you to the doorway so you can see further in. Yeah.
Okay, so the torch is like a black light.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll do that then.
Okay, there you go. Sorry. So you grab the torch, you bring it over to the doorway, holding it maybe even precariously because obviously you're feeling a little uncomfortable with what it is that it's doing, but not afraid. And when you go looking into the room, the whole room just lights up. This tree, you can see the design. So the whole tree itself looks to be this this deep purple color, right? But then this lighter color than the purple, blues, but still dark itself. Lighter color than the purple that the bark seems to be shining. There's like these traces of lines that go along the tree, and the whole tree just has this like amazing, this beautiful, almost awe-inspiring look to it. Could you roll me a will save?
Oh, fuck.
You know, honestly, you truly find the beauty of the tree to be, awe-inspiring, but nothing more than that. Looking at the nodules, however, you see the little nodules growing off of the roots themselves. Those don't light up quite the same way. They actually, sure, they're same blues and purple hues, just like you would see in any room using this black light extending your dark vision. But on closer inspection, you're actually like, oh shit, those are the little things. Like, I can see it now. It's almost like its fingers and toes are dug into the bark, but they're like hunched and curled forward like these tiny little, hunching their bodies into nodules. But those are the little tiny things, or cat-sized things, that swarms the camp beforehand. And looking about the room, there's a ton of them. There's definitely a few more swarms inside here.
Are they all, like, connected to the tree?
Yeah, it almost seems like they're growing out of the roots. Almost seems like they're growing out of the roots themselves, or attached into the roots, like USB ports, right? And then looking, because you can see much further in, looking at the actual base of the tree itself, it is ridiculously beautiful. Looking the tree. So the tree never grew up tall. Instead, it stayed squat, almost kind of like a pumpkin. But I don't know if you've ever been to, like, we around here, because America has this obnoxious pumpkin culture that I won't lie, I feed into. where like massive pumpkins of like world record setting sizes, where there's like lumps upon lumps growing out, almost looks like you could fit a whole family inside the pumpkin. Almost grows out like that, like this ugly broad thing that's squatted down because of the roof inside here, and it's like rolling over itself, filling up most of the room inside here. But underneath, like the lips of what you would almost imagine being like the love handles of this tree trunk, you see a little bit of movement happening, and they don't seem to notice you, but you notice them. It's the small-sized ones, maybe like nurturing the tree or tending to it, whatever it is. But you can see the small-sized ones are inside here.
That fire was sounding real nice right now.
I back away from the door, and as quietly as I can, I come over to the other two, and I just say, you see one, he turns around and he just has this big smile on his face, and he says, those things are attached to the tree, and it looks like towards the center they're nurturing it, looking after it. He says, we should fireball the tree.
Those things, what do you mean? Because you didn't say anything, wasn't that?
The swarms of things that attacked us.
Well, he just like he does that expression, then looks at Ray and is like, we should do the fireball, like right now.
Maybe we could even build a small fire in this hallway or whatever it is that we're in. So if any do come through, they'll have to go through a fire to get us after we fireball it.
It's a good plan. However, do we decide that time is of the essence?
We have a bonfire up the stairs if we direly need it.
I think they're growing from the tree.
In that case, hitting it now before they sprout or whatever happens may be the best idea.
I agree.
I mean, if we must, we can always retreat.
Exactly.
It is daylight outside.
I think that is a good idea. Then let us get down there. He pulls out the scroll, gets it ready.
Perhaps it would be worth you drinking that fire potion. One?
I don't have one. There was only two.
We only had two, yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yes, it is.
Do we want to build a fire or not? Just fireball it and kind of retreat.
I think we fireball it and press the attack, and then retreat if necessary.
I think that is a good idea.
We're going to severely weaken the tree and anything guarding it. With the shepherds dead, the sheep should be easy killing.
I've got the scrolls of Cure Light Wounds. Okay, I have lots of healing on my belt, ready to like pass out if you need it. I have the moderate wounds, light wounds, and 2 light wound scrolls.
So based on what I've seen, where all these things are, could I also help Valorant to know kind of radius-wise where the most effective thing where we can come?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's honestly one of those things where you're going to choose almost the whole distance between, because the distance to the tree, the roots were growing outwards, but those nodules didn't start on the tree until like way further in. That's why there's no nodules like out here in this room with this bit. Like it has to be at the thicker base of the tree. So you're going to be like, I want to say 2/3 the distance. Maybe even 3/4 the distance to the tree. That way you're encompassing the entire tree in the blast and pretty much everything. Will there be a couple of nodules that are outside the blast? Sure, but who cares? The commoners were taking care of those, right? So, to purge the Xenos in holy fire, Neil. I very rarely look at chat, but I just did. I was like, all caps caught my eye.
Yeah, that was good.
Because I saw all caps, I immediately thought Burn was here. It was like perfect moment for Burn Orb to show up, like casting fireball.
Let me. So.
I wonder if at the same time you cast Fireball, if I hit that root above us with an axe as well, just to see.
It's really, really funny if it does nothing, because he'll like let loose this huge fireball, and you'll be like, ah.
I'm just worried that the root might, if it's moving, it could, attempt to like attack us from behind.
That's a good point.
Rarin would say, if like you're clearly worried about that, while I may be wrong, it would seem strange to me for the roots to be capable of large amounts of movement. Otherwise, the tree itself would probably have collapsed the tunnels, or it wouldn't need to produce these smaller creatures to do its bidding.
Either way, it may not be a bad idea. I mean, it won't do any extra harm, I think.
To do it simultaneously, even if it does nothing. Does nothing.
So wait until you hear the explosion. You get out the scroll. Okay, so I just use magic device is what I roll, right?
This is an important roll. So you need to get as high of a roll as possible, because failing on this roll can be a very, very bad thing.
You get fireballed.
It's like, unlike the Pathfinder Kingmaker video game, because we're using the system but not that setting and everything, right? Unlike that video game where if you don't succeed on a scroll check, it doesn't matter. Like, it matters.
Can you give me guidance or something?
I can.
Does that work for this?
Yeah. Any skill check. Do you have anything else that?
You know what?
Please.
I'm going to use this as well.
Oof.
This gives you +1 sacred bonus. Okay.
It takes 1 health.
Can you boop guidance for me, please?
There's skill checks. There's a +1 there.
I believe it's competence bonus. I just want to confirm.
I think it is competence.
Competence.
And can you remind me? Use magic device, I believe, is based off of charisma. Do you want to just double check that?
It is.
Okay. Okay. Then the other thing I would suggest you're doing is, do you have a potion of equal splendor? I thought you guys did. I thought you guys had a few buff.
No, we made a joke about Eagle Splendor because he thought the eagle was an owl. So
no, because you came across like Cat's Grace and Bear's Endurance. I just wasn't sure which other ones you guys had. So just double check your character sheets.
Full strength as well.
Okay.
We had 2 Cat's Grace.
Gotcha.
I've got 1 Cat's Grace left, which, by the way, I would actually probably have given to Rayron by now.
Okay, gotcha. Because his wore off forever ago, of course.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't have any of the mental stat ones. Okay.
No, I remember. I remember we made the joke about if we had one, he would think it was ours, a Splendor, because yeah.
It was like no owl splendor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so cool. So I just wanted to confirm because it's one of those things. If you roll 1, you roll 1. That's just gonna be funny.
That's a good point. I like just before I cast it.
It's not 5e, so I want to make sure you're familiar with, because this is that area in the game where like things can go sideways, and you guys aren't as familiar with. Jake is. Okay, I'm sure he's got stories.
This and the second like that. Oh, it failed.
Hey!
Okay.
Oh my god! I thought that was a scroll for a moment there. Little bit of wind came out. I was like,
so you see him like, and nothing happens. He's like, huh, and he does it again.
I imagine it's literally he goes to do the gesture to cast his scroll. So he's cast the shield spell, but it doesn't work, and then he realizes like a bit of like the armor was kind of like cuffed around his thumb in the wrong way and made it so he didn't quite get that angle. And
okay, let's do this again. That's a good one for it to happen on before anything's happening.
Yeah, unfortunately, now you are a first level spell, so.
I can drink the Shield of Faith.
Oh.
I get the feeling this is going to be a big fight, and I've seen Kingmaker. You buff up.
Okay, so
any other potions?
Everyone ready?
Any other potions or anything else that you want to do? Any other spells you want to cast in advance? Anything else?
I'm going to cast guidance on all of us.
Oh yeah, because you can technically do that. Bink, bink, bink.
Yep.
Because it lasts for a minute each.
I'll have a potion of Cat's Grace.
Okay, for the sake of the actual like time limit, I would cast this when everyone's ready, and then do the thing.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah.
with my Shield of Faith.
Yeah, so there's 1 minute once I goes immediately. Okay, so everyone ready for me to use magic device?
No,
And attack.
I'm not ready. I'm nervous.
Okay.
Listen,
I attack as well.
I root for the bad guys, but you know, I do still care about you guys.
So,
I don't think you do.
Big money, no whammies.
Oh god. Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god! +2. That's a 27. Oh my god. Oh my god! That's amazing.
Roll good on damage, please.
Oh, okay.
No. Here's the fun part. Did I ever actually tell you what the caster level of this spell was? Because
5d6.
I said that. I said 5d6 because that's the minimum a fireball can be. So I was being generic. Did I ever tell you the caster level of the spell?
No.
It was actually it was caster level 6. It was a 6d6 fireball. So yeah.
God.
So you get to slash roll 6d6 damage. And then, because you hurt yourself, can you apply that damage to your...
+1. Yeah, it happens to my... oh, no, I get to choose. It goes to
It's only on your next
roll.
one.
Yeah.
But isn't it a thing where anytime you take damage the very next round, you're also able to get +1 damage? Is that a different ability?
Actually, it's this, actually.
Whenever you take damage in battle, your effective cast level increases by 1. Oh, so that doesn't matter. That doesn't apply
we
to
had the
this.
discussion about whether it would work that way, and it would be a little strong if it did.
Oh my god.
So yeah, 66?
Yeah, god.
Oh! That's actually real good.
Okay, so you all of a sudden take the scroll. It's one of those things where you start reading through the words, and everybody's a bit nervous because all of you understand like the difficulty of how it is to use magics and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So everybody feels like those nerves, feels those butterflies, but you just have a certain degree of confidence in your reading of the scroll that the two of them are actually kind of like, I imagine even one of them will toss you a side glance, like a bit impressed, which is the sheer confidence you have in casting reading the scroll. And then you can literally see the scroll itself, the edges of the scroll start to catch fire as all of a sudden it starts burning inwards until it's literally a flaming glob of bat guano that's suspended in space directly in front of you. You have no more words to read, but the words are in your mind, and you continue your chant as you place like your open palm on the edge of the bat guano, and then just knowing exactly where to put it because it was suggested by Jake beforehand, by one beforehand. You just give the right amount of nudge to the guano, and it starts flying. This little seed of fire starts flying as quickly as it can throughout the world. As it starts flying in there, the fire starts to change. It starts to turn ever so slightly purple. And then the huge explosion of fire that fills the room. Sure, the edges of the fire start to turn purplish and bluish and whatnot, but the amount of just sheer force and magic that's behind that fire was not touched by the innate magics of whatever this is inside the room. And it just erupts in this beautiful display of these yellows and reds and oranges that are inside there. Ever so slight blue at the base, sheerly because of the heat of the fire, not because of the magics of the tree. And you can just hear the uniform screeches and screams of all the creatures inside there as they just like catch a flame and just fall. The whole tree itself literally catches fire, and you can see the roots just start to move and sway. The whole tree starts to shuffle. You can feel the building over your head because the whole huge massive thing starts to shift and move about in pain of what you just did. You can see that like bits of dust falling. You hear the rumbling. You feel the ground shifting under your feet. The root that's in the ceiling overhead over there literally pulls itself out of where it was jutted through the wall over there, pulls itself this one big snap, knocking you through the blocks down. You do. Give me 1 second on that one. Pulls itself free from there. Everything inside starts shifting about. Whatever survived at the base of the roots of those little nodules start to pull themselves free off and start to like kind of jump down and look about for one another, and then start like running towards you. That scratching noises, start running towards the door as quickly as they can. If there are any of those slightly larger ones at the base of the tree, you imagine they're also either tending to the tree or starting to run towards you as quick as you can. But literally inside of the room itself, much like you would imagine the Whomping Willow watching Harry Potter or reading Harry Potter, the roots themselves are whipping and moving about just like crazy because the pain it's in. Now, as for your attack of opportunity, Jake, please take it. And Neil, did you prepare an action or no? Okay.
Oh, come on.
Oh, Metamagic is sexy as fluff, isn't it, card? Oh, Jake.
Too fast. Too fast for me.
Jake.
He was expecting it to be slow, not vroom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I did prepare it as like the fireball was hit, not after, but I'll take it anyway.
Sorry.
That's all good.
It's okay, you'll be more useful in the next part.
Okay, well.
I've done my useful thing. I'm now not so useful.
Let me fix that. There we go. Let me just click you, double click you over here.
We're doing initiative.
Oh, no, I'll do that. What I want from you guys is to roll me an initiative check, please, and thank you.
And obviously, all these thrashing roots have just squashed even more of those little bug boys.
They can move up and around and over them with the greatest of ease.
Nonsense.
It is nonsense, isn't it? Excuse me.
Great. Nice. Didn't take a like action. Still can't fucking do anything.
You were half expecting it just not to work.
I mean, I wasn't expected to work quite that well.
Fair enough.
I mean, that worked very, very, very. Like that was amazing. I set the DC at 26, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be awful for them in every way. I'm more teasing them than anything else, not really giving them an opportunity here. And the fact that you got it, I was like, oh, good for you, buddy.
Thank fuck for me using that sacrificial boon and you using guidance. Without that, I wouldn't have got it.
Oh my god.
All right, we're missing somebody's initiative. Somebody didn't click their token. It was 1.
Yeah, that's me, but I rolled the 6.
Okay, I'll add you on and give you the.
See, what you should have done is said, "Oh, right, sorry, I'll do that for you."
Yeah, I am doing it.
No,
I am doing it, man. I am doing it.
I was saying he should have said, "Oh, right, no, sorry."
Oh! Because you saw how bad the roll was? You know, honestly, because like I'm doing that combat setup, I may not even have noticed. I may have just... Oh, wow.
That was a bit of a dog act thought.
Oh, yeah. It's not something you really do seriously, but it's a funny thing to do.
Oh, jeez. So anyways, and let's put this one here.
Oh, God. Guess who's up front, guys?
And then we're going to do...
Have we got an actual battle map for this?
No. You don't need it for this one. So I had one for something we were going to do last session, but we ended up doing things differently. Because you guys ended up camping in a different spot than expected or whatever. So, what was he getting at? So, yeah, the first thing that's going to happen is literally one of those swarms starts to form, and it comes together. And it looks about, and it sees another swarm starting to come together. And much like what you had seen beforehand, the first swarm that forms literally brings itself over to where the other swarm is starting to form. And so they just start making this, like, much larger swarm, like it had done the tail end of the last combat. Like, it's just going straight into that. So the first one literally spends its turn moving over to the other swarms. Now, just as a reminder for what it was that you guys had experienced last time, an individual swarm is not wimpy by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't think they are. But when they join together to make the bigger one, it's not just like, oh, 5 health plus 5 health equals 10 health. It's like, no, it's an exponential growth in power. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and you guys clearly noticed that. But they haven't fused yet, if you will. You can see one of them is just as it's amassing itself and others are jumping out and joining on. And you can also imagine more initiatives will be added on as we go. It is moving itself over to another swarm that's amassing. That swarm, you guys are...
heaps out?
My apologies.
Did we not take a bunch out with the fireball?
You did. That's why there's not.
Okay.
That's why there's not like hundreds or thousands. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely you did. Yeah. So the swarms that are coming together. My apologies. You guys are in this side of the doorway. The door itself acting as a bit of like a chokehold, right? To the room on the other side. Where they're starting to form is about 40 feet from the door. Okay, the tree, again, the base of the tree, the actual trunk of the tree is a solid 100 feet from where you guys are, because this is like the entirety of the foundation of the building. So,
Okay, so we want to attack them before they join. We don't want to make them come to us. Because if they have time to do their merging thing, it'll be bad for us.
an important thing to note too, if you choose to enter that room, is that the roots are swinging and moving. They seem to be moving sporadically as opposed to with purpose, because the thing almost seems to be like writhing or squirming in pain. As opposed to moving with direction, right? Needless to say, that distance, 100 feet, is not small. It is rough terrain getting through there, unless you can make an appropriate acrobatics check. Failing that check will have a penalty. And, of course, that's a dangerous area. But we'll get to that in a minute. Who's first? It is Valorant.
Well, my expertise is not at this range, let alone moving in yet. Are we going to move in, guys?
I don't know whether we can talk out of turn order, Tash. You know, I feel like you're gonna have to leave.
If I give up my current turn with maybe if I hold an action to hit something, am I allowed to like ask, do we move in? And you can talk on your turn, maybe. I will hold an action for if one of these swarms comes up to me, I will hit it with a torch.
Okay. With a torch?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my tactic, is to fire these things.
Okay. So you're staying on this side of the doorway, right?
Yes, for now.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you're more or less preparing an action. Okay, after that is going to be the other swarm. The other swarm starts forming together and whatnot, so it finishes forming itself up and starts running over to once again join with the first swarm. You imagine that next turn, they're definitely going to be fully swarmed together and able to start moving forward, okay? So that's literally its turn is finishing forming itself of all the little creatures that survive and jumping together, coming together. Looking about the room, you actually can see that there are many other of the tiny-sized creatures and many other of the small-sized creatures that you had seen beforehand that you kind of expect to see. But every one of them is on fire and running around and like burning and kind of like rolling around and dying and whatnot. The whole room is just chaos and destruction. You know, the fireball is very effective. So, Rayron, you're next.
Rayron will step in the threshold of the door so that he's in front of Valorant.
Mm-hmm. What do you have in your hands, just so I can...
A torch and his short sword.
Okay.
And funnily that you should ask that, he's going to drop the torches.
Okay.
So in terms of preparing, what can I prepare a full round action? Because that seems like probably.
It's usually preparing a standard action.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
I will prepare to acid splash. Well, how far are the swarms?
So the two swarms that are trying to come together, they're pretty close. They're both about 40 feet away from you, but like near to each other, but not directly next to one another.
Okay. So there's two swarms currently. They're trying to form together.
Correct.
I will hold an action to cast a spell when they are formed and in range.
Okay. And all I request, I don't need you to get super specific because that's just boring. I want you to have like malleability with your selection. Offensive or defensive spell?
It will be offensive.
That's all I need.
15 foot. So once they're within 15 foot.
Perfect. All I need is, when they're within 15 feet, I'm going to do an offensive spell. That works fine for me. So after it's going to be one. So one of them is kind of like standing by the doorway, but off to the side. He's not dumb. He's not going to get in the way of you. The other one just stepped into the doorway, but once again steps to the side enough that he's not going to be in your way. You can easily pass through him. But both of them are still right by you. You're at the doorway. What do you do?
Okay, so I have a question.
Shoot.
Can I pick the torch up and then apply the magic weapon to it?
Yeah. Picking up would be a move action, and whatever, and then applying that's a standard action. You could definitely do that, or even are you still holding a torch even?
I had that one, but it went weird.
Yeah.
Black flame one.
Do you don't want to do it with the weird one? You want to do it with the no? This one's normal fire. I prefer normal fire.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, cool. Yeah, you can easily bend down. So you take like a step forward or whatever, free 5-foot step, right? Bend down, pick it up, pulling out the oil of magic weapon, and you pour it onto the torch, making it a magical torch.
So what when I attack with it, what's the pluses? Or like what's my modifier?
So a torch works literally like a club. It's actually like the mechanics are exactly the same as a club, with one exception. Torches do D4 damage instead of D6, but it also does fire damage. So if I remember correctly, I want to say it's 1D4 instead of 1D6, plus strength as always, but it also does.
I'm pretty sure it's 1D4.
What?
I'm pretty sure it is 1D4.
Yeah. I want to say it's plus 1 or 2 fire damage, but has a chance of catching the person aflame.
If it's used in combat, it's treated as a one-handed improvised weapon that deals bludgeoning damage equal to that of a gauntlet of its size.
Yep. So D4.
Plus 1 point of fire damage.
Yeah, 1 fire damage, but it has a chance of catching the person on fire, which is what's useful.
Nice.
Cool. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the let's burn these beaches. Awesome. Yeah. And don't forget the modifier because it's magical. All right. So that's what anything with your swift? Gonna use a judgment?
I will use a judgment. And I will use the.
If you
the tree.
Reminder: if you use the protection one, it doesn't help you against swarms.
Yeah. No. I'm thinking the. One. Probably the fast healing one. I don't know which one what that's called though.
It's literally the healing one. It's somewhere on there. You'll see it. And Card, just so you know, when they hit level 3 is the first time they're going to give a crap about meta magic, and I will totally guide them for leveling up. Some of them might love meta magic, and some will be like, it's too costly. It's not worth it. So, and I'm pretty sure Jake knows how it works. But thank you very much, of course. Did you find it, Jake?
I don't think we've added it.
Oh, really?
On here. Yeah.
Huh.
Destruction, protection, justice, and resilience is the ones we've added.
Oh, that's funny. So it's literally you heal 1 health point a round.
Yeah.
For the minute that it's active.
Yep.
But only if you're injured. So you're currently uninjured.
Yep.
Again, they are my favorite class for several reasons. All right, cool. So you activate that judgment, which is amazing. So it's round 1 if you want to put a ticker for yourself somewhere.
Yep.
So it's round 1. All right, that's after 1 is going to be the tree's turn. The tree starts whipping and moving about its roots everywhere, as I said beforehand. This isn't a directed effort. This is, again, just a dangerous area effect for being inside the doorway. One person happened to step inside the doorway, but he's still at the very, very, very edges of anything that's dangerous. Neil, can you make me a reflex saving throw? I will tell you it's actually a low DC. It's actually a DC 8 from where you're standing.
That's all right, because I've got a cat's, whatchamacallit.
Grace on?
Yeah.
Cool. Then why did you roll a 16 and get
no, he rolled an 8. Look.
Oh, it just physically looks like a 16. Okay, gotcha. That's one of those tricky things.
It's on the edge, and apparently it thought it was 8.
That's fine. So, so you easily are able to stay at like, as the things are whipping by, dangerous for you. You can tell it's going to be more deadly as you move forward. All right, that's what the tree does on its turn for now. Back up to top of initiative. That first swarm makes its way over to the second swarm and starts pouring itself into the second swarm. You imagine once it's the second swarm's turn, it's now going to be able to be the full-sized one and moving forward. Okay? So I'm literally just going to delete that one from initiative and bring us to Valoran's turn.
Okay, in seeing what's happening, I am going to use the magic missile flare at the tree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to attack since I can't really do much to the swarm until it gets much closer, and likely through the doorway, I'm going to wait for that to happen, and I'm going to attack the tree.
Sure.
Oh!
That was perfection. That is
Oh my god, that's nasty. 10 damage.
literal perfection right there. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm genuinely very happy for you, sir. All right, so
This has been a good session for me.
you throw your magic missile at the base of the tree, and this is of course using the flare thing. You imagine the tree doesn't have sight, so perhaps the flare part doesn't work. But the you throw this missiles at the tree, and you can just see explosions of bark off the tree from one side, off the tree from the other side. As a matter of fact, because the magic missile never misses, and you were kind of like blindly throwing it in there, you were fortunate enough that you actually hit the tree at the base of one of its roots, and the little explosions ended up blasting off the base of one of the roots. So the root ends up falling to the ground, much like freshly beheading a snake. It writhers around for another few moments or so, but then that slows down, and just like the base of the part of it twitches a little bit, but then eventually stops over the course of the next round or two. It'll come to a full stop.
See that, yell, "We can cut off the roots," and then back around the door.
Get in there and do that for me. Hides.
I would basically. I'm not saying go in. I'm saying once the swarm's dealt with, go in.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. And then for mechanical purposes, just so that you're aware, because you actually did remove one of the roots, as that DC climbs, you actually gave it -1 to the DC of future reflex saves.
Nice.
Moving on. That's going to... the swarm finishes forming.
Big boy swarm. Swole
Yep.
swarm.
Now it's the massive swarm of these little things, and they kind of like gather together, and then they turn their attention towards you. And remember that feeling that you had when you first got back into the keep beforehand, that ire, that almost like primal intelligence hatred towards you? Oh, you feel it. And it's coming at you, clambering over each other, running at you with this fear. Before they were attacking because you were on their land, in their area. Now they're attacking because this is defense, and you can. They're swarming at you. Neil, you're in the swarm. What are you, 40 feet away? Let me actually just check and see if they can make 40-foot gap. I believe at their speed. They ignore the rough terrain of their own mother tree being here, but their speed is actually only 30. Oh, wait a second. But they can double move because they're swarms, right? Isn't that how it works? Can't swarms double move? Yeah? So, I believe I actually can overtake you guys. Just want to double check the ruling on this. I believe so. I just want to...
No, that sounds like BS to me, Scott.
Yeah, I just want to double check. I just don't want to...
I mean, like, if we form up into like a swarm,
No, that's not how it
which
works.
I think we should do, guys.
No, that's not how it
It's a
works.
good way to defeat our enemies. Like we like Power Ranger it. Like we all get on one shoulders.
Yep.
And we're a swarm.
Double moving and stopping its turn on where you are. So it actually is able to overtake where you are, and more importantly, it can actually stretch out into the...
action.
Oh, okay. You go first.
So
He
as
does,
it gets within range,
Yeah.
I'll hit it.
Yep.
We'll try and roll decently.
This is where the fun begins.
Beautiful, 2 damage.
Oh, because you did, I was like, oh, you did 6, but no, that's 2. Okay, gotcha. I do technically get a reflex saving throw, but they're not very good at any saving throws. So, give me a second.
Still, that's fire and AoE.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that roll 2d4? That's so peculiar.
In case you cast at higher level, sort of a thing.
Perhaps.
That is real weird that it did that, though.
I don't know. It's a wonky mechanic.
That one's.
Wait. In the description, it's like
Yeah,
you
it says
got
a 4.
damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then do that one.
That does you roll a 4.
It's. Let me.
Let's just make sure it's 1d4. It is, yeah.
Let me just.
Yeah.
Both of them. Yeah. Let me just turn off damage.
Yeah, Tess
They're
just
both
doesn't do that.
1d4 though. I don't know. It's up to you.
You know what you can actually do? You can turn off description.
Yeah. What would you? Yeah.
I'll be nice enough to give you the 4 this time. Okay, I'll be nice because I did both of them. So I'll be nice to you, Neil. But however, just turn off description, then it'll just ping the top part for you in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you do your flame. I make my reflex saving throw, and I rolled horribly, of course. So your 4 actually becomes 8 points of damage. So you actually, similar to like before when you billow out fire that is engulfing them as they're swarming forward and coming towards you. So you actually do a considerable amount of.
Iron Man thing of-
You actually do a considerable amount of damage at these things as they're swarming forward. However, because of how massive the swarm is, because of the fact that they can move the full 60 feet and you're only just on the inside of the doorway, they are able to swarm through the door and overtake where all 3 of you guys are.
Well,
So
time to get swinging.
now it's you got to all take this damage and everybody make a fortitude save. Oh, wait a second. 1 point of damage. Nobody has.
Double moved, didn't it?
It did, yeah, but they don't attack. Remember, it's just when you are inside their area.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's a
We're
swarm.
inside them. And
Nobody has DR, do you?
No.
Okay, then everybody make a fortitude save.
Can I do? How many lucks do we have? Do we know?
You don't know because you've never used one this session. Ha!
Oh,
I kind of want to use one, but we can't all use one.
I think one should use one because we need his axe.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think
I don't have my axe out. I have a magic torch.
Yeah, but you have a magic torch.
Yeah.
So, one, you gonna use one?
If it's alright with you guys.
Yeah, I think having all 3 of us incapacitated by whatever that is bad.
Okay, let's just come on.
Let's put our
And we
faith
don't
into
even
one's
know what it
rolls.
is yet.
It's like giving it to RV and like, come on, it's gonna happen.
10. Oh, let's hope that was.
Might not be
Wait.
enough.
We have 3 left.
Do me a favor. Could Neil and Tesh, just do me a favor? Could you both roll me a 1d2?
Oh god.
Or you can just roll any die and it evens your odds. You know.
1d2, baby.
Yes, sir.
Did it?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jake.
Oh.
Jake, actually, you have to roll the 1d2 as well. I'm sorry.
Oh, damn it.
I didn't see the total was only 10. Even though you said it, it didn't click in my ears. Like it didn't in my head. Sorry.
So what do I slash roll 1d2?
Yep.
Okay.
Why did you do capital D?
Because I wanted to do a capital D.
1D.
One and Ray, please take 1. And hold on, Valorant, please take 2 points of strength damage as the poison settles into you and causes a bit of stiffening of your actual muscles and whatnot. It hurts.
Fucking terrible for me.
This poison does have a secondary effect, so at the end of your next turn, you will have to make another Constitution saving throw or Fortitude saving throw to see if you lose more strength.
Oh god.
Yes.
This is real bad. I only have 6 left.
Yep. When you hit 1, you become paralyzed. Sorry, when you hit 0, you become paralyzed, but I don't believe 0 strength kills you. I think it's only 0 con that kills you. I could be wrong. Maybe 0 strength also kills you. I'll double check that one in a minute.
I know, like, 0 intelligence makes your brain dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I apply that on the character sheet?
Type in -1 in temp.
Yep.
Okay, -1. Yeah.
Oh, I should have done that. I'll do that.
Rather than changing your actual score and then never realizing that you've forgotten.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, so anyways, you guys are...
One.
That's their turn. It's now Rayron's turn. Rayron, you're in the meat of the swarm because it stretched past you over to where they are. Luckily, you burned a lot of it, but...
Yeah, I don't... they've got DR6.
Not DR6.
I can barely damage that. I'll deal like 1 or 2 per turn.
You don't you have a torch? Oh no, you dropped your torch. Why did you drop your torch?
Because torches are actually in effect. They're like 1d3 or
What?
something.
1d4 fire plus
Nah,
1.
they're 1d3.
What are they? Do I need to change mine? I thought it was 1d4.
No, I'll leave it to Scott's ruling.
Okay.
I'm just gonna. It's Arcane Pool. My short sword. It's covered in lightning. Let's give it a little buff. The
Chain
sword.
lightning.
Yeah, the sword glows with the extra blue glint, which fades mostly. Let me put that in. I'm gonna roll just the attack. This is full round combat, spell combat, so this is actually a -1. So I don't know why I added. Yeah, I know. It doesn't...
You haven't made an attack roll yet, so you actually get a +1 from his what's it called? Guidance.
Oh, okay. So that's a 9. So I miss.
So you finally make an attack roll with your short sword, and unfortunately, it was a miss with the short sword. Oh, you guys totally could have used a hit right now.
Yep.
Go ahead, do your attack with your spell combat.
It's just magic missile. Nice.
Now, you're inside the swarm itself, right?
Yeah.
So to cast a spell when you're inside of a swarm, when you're actively in it, because this didn't happen to you beforehand, you actually have to make a concentration check. Oh, you make it. So you do successfully cast a spell inside of the swarm. You make a concentration check.
Damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you successfully did it. You are good to go. Did 2 points of damage to the thing. Unfortunately, you missed. Too bad.
Yeah, that's my turn.
All right. Next is going to be 1.
I'm gonna hit it with my magic torch.
Do it.
So do I slash roll something, or can I just roll my battle axe?
Yeah, you just do your, because battle axe doesn't have anything unique about it, so you can just do that. Or actually, give me 1 second, boyo.
I just dragged a club on and then.
That's literally what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
Is drag a club on for
Okay,
him.
sweet.
I changed it to fire and lowered the damage from 1d6 to 1d4.
So club, and then exactly that. Just make those slight alterations. Is literally what I was about to do. So, if you just want to change it to D.
+1 to hit and +1 damage for being magic, right?
Correct. I think there's actually a category you can write just like 1 for under magic. I think, or whatever.
There's a little 1 slot, yeah.
Yeah.
A little slot where you could just put a 1.
Yeah.
Melee plus dex plus whatever.
So you can modify that as you'd like. And I'm actually gonna. I just realized I really have to pee. So I'll give you 2 seconds to set that up, and you guys can chat amongst yourselves inside the